Hi everybody, we're excited to be with you this month. We are talking with all of you in the Philippines and Africa and Qatar and Mexico and soon Brazil and Peru. We're excited to be with you. We have a very special guest today. His name is Philip Webb. And so thanks for being with us, Philip.
Thanks for having me.
Philip is a new friend of the Academy, and we met probably 2 or 3 months ago, and we began to eat at a restaurant of Asian food, and that's what we do now. We think about the Filipinos as we eat our adobo and rice, and we think, man, we should go to the Philippines.
We're coming.
We're coming. So Philip and I have just returned from Mexico, where we had the Academy Awards, the Entrepreneur Academy Awards, and we are super impressed with this incredible young man, and we have to give you some thanks as well, because Philip's foundation has supported the Academy, and we want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
In a very significant way. So today we're going to talk a little bit about you, your family, your background, your education. Did you serve a mission, kids, wife? And then after that, we want to talk a little bit about your experience in Mexico with the Academy Awards and just some lessons to help our students throughout the world learn from.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Great.
Okay, so let's start with, did you serve a mission?
I did. I served a mission in Brazil, Curitiba, and I loved my mission.
How long have you been home now?
It's been almost 10 years.
10 years. And
over 10 years.
Do you have a wife?
I got married almost 10 years ago. My wife, Michaela, we now have 4 children, 2 daughters, 2 sons, and a 5th child is on the way.
Wow. So you'll have 3 daughters and 2 sons.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, tell us about your mom and your dad and growing up. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Utah, but also we lived in Virginia for some time. My dad was a mission president. But I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs that we were born and raised to go out and take a risk, try our hand at a business.
So your dad was an entrepreneur. Do you think that culturally you grew up in the home understanding entrepreneurship, business?
Not all the principles, not what you're learning at the academy or what you did learn, but you get the sense that you can take a risk. You can work hard, harder than most people. Okay. And that's usually what it takes. But
tell us maybe a quick story about when you were young, how little were you, and you learned to take a risk or sell something or any type of experience so that our students can think about how I, as a parent, can help my children understand entrepreneurship and this culture of entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay. When we moved to Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Just about that age where you start to need some money and get some experience. And it was summertime, and we were watching TV, me and my brother. And it took about a day of that for my mom to say, enough, you're going to get out there and start working. So she kicked us out of the house, and we had to walk around the neighborhood and start thinking about what are we going to do.
Wow.
We lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of big lawns, and we realized maybe we should help these people mow their lawns, cut their grass. So we created a flyer, took it around, and tried to create a little business in the neighborhood to make some money.
How'd it go?
It went okay.
Did you have to buy a lawnmower?
Had to buy some, so we had to go ask Mom for money to make some money, but and to print out the flyers, took them around. And the first year it started slow, but as word got out and as we got better experience and did a better job and the neighbors could tell their friends, we got more clients.
Wonderful. So you started really small.
Yeah.
And how many lawns did you do, you think, on average, your first month?
Maybe 10 neighbors, 10
and then
clients.
2 or 3 years down the road, how many lawns do you think
we were the business. We had about 40 clients, and then we hired some other neighborhood boys, and so we were managing that. And that's when I really started to learn about managing our money and our budgets and the equipment and our assets.
Did your mom and dad help at all?
No, they wanted us to kind of learn on our own and make some mistakes, which we did, but it was a good experience.
So are you still mowing lawns?
I wish I was mowing lawns. No, that was just an experience.
See, I think that's valuable because a lot of times we start with an income-generating activity, like mowing lawns. And we think, I'm going to be stuck here the rest of my life mowing lawns. And the reality, it's not what you're doing as much as it is what you're learning.
Yeah, that's right.
So sometimes students will, do you feel that this is right to say, they'll graduate and they'll start with an income-generating activity, selling chocolates or I don't know, little Christmas trees or something to capitalize themselves with some money, but that's just a launching pad.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
To the next pad, which will lead you to the next one. All you're getting experience, you're out there, you're meeting people, you're learning, you're growing, you're failing and learning from it, you're having success and learning from that, and little by little, that might just be a year, and then the next year you're doing something else, but it's always leading you to the next thing, and you're always growing from it.
So we start small and we think big.
Absolutely.
And we always want to improve. So that's practice Kaizen, right? So those are two rules of thumb that you've done a great job while starting young, right?
Hope so.
Okay. So let's move on to your education. What have you studied?
I did my undergraduate at Brigham Young University, where I got my bachelor's degree. Then we moved to Washington, D.C., my wife and I did my master's at George Washington University.
Which is an incredible school. It's one of the top, and especially in what field you studied. What field?
So I studied nonprofit management and international development.
So now, after you finish nonprofit management, it's been a few years, and now you are the executive director for a foundation.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Well, after I graduated, I tried my hand at a few businesses and got experience, and luckily landed in this position where, as a foundation, we want to support the work you're doing. And what we found is the Academy does it best.
Wow.
And we've looked all over the
nice.
world.
I didn't even pay him to say that.
He doesn't do it best, but you're doing it.
That's true.
So we don't want to recreate the wheel. We want to give as much help and support and donations to the work that you're doing so that you can keep doing the work you're doing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So, Mexico, we were at the Academy Awards. Philippines will have their Academy Awards soon.
Oh, good.
And let's hear your takeaways on what you learned and what you loved about the 2 days you were down there with us.
It was, honestly, it was an emotional experience. I was so impressed with the Academy, with the campus. There's a culture and a spirit to what you're doing. And I'd imagine it's the same anywhere because you're learning the same principles and it's based in the gospel. And there's that culture where you students come together and you're working hard and you're trying your best and you're out there just working. And there's a spirit that comes with that. There's an energy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I was so impressed.
Well, great. So President Johnson, who's the area president for Mexico, was our keynote speaker on Friday night. And he talked a little bit about why we get into business, and it's not necessarily the amount of money we make, but that we have so many opportunities to give back. You and your foundation are a great example of that. The Gibsons and all of our donors to the Academy are wonderful examples of giving back. But a lot of times we get confused and we think, and our students, you all get confused and say, I don't have money to give back, so I can't give back. Can you explain to them what you learned and what Elder Johnson explained about giving back?
Yeah, it was a wonderful time spent with Elder Johnson, and I had 3 takeaways.
Okay.
The first was recognizing that all that we have comes from our Heavenly Father. King Benjamin taught us that in the Book of Mormon. And if you can recognize that and remember to give back to Heavenly Father what He's asked, 10% tithing and a generous fast offering. It doesn't matter how successful you are. You can have the biggest company and the most money in the world. If you're not remembering where it comes from, then it's not worth it.
Wonderful.
But I know you're working hard now. I know you're in the trenches, we say. You're in the battle. You're trying every day to make ends meet and to meet payroll, and it's tough. I've been there. But someday, and someday soon, you will have success. And so it's important to decide now what you're going to do with it.
Great.
And what is success for you? When do you have sufficient for your needs? Okay? So maybe take some time today and think about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great assignment for you individually to think, what does it mean to me to be successful? Write that down. Two, so they write down what it means to them to be successful. And two, is to make the commitment right now to say, I can give back right now, and I will continue to give back. So,
and that's the third thing.
Great.
Right now you don't have the money, and maybe down the road you're going to need the money for your business. It doesn't have to be money. You can give in all kinds of ways, and be creative. You're creative. You just by hiring employees, you are giving back. You are growing your business. You are blessing the lives of those employees, their families, and their children. You can organize a volunteer day with your company. You've got employees, and maybe you take a day and go out and serve in the community. This builds goodwill. This helps the community see you in that light, and it can pay huge dividends down the road. You can give your time. You are now experts in your field. You are in the trenches learning and growing, and in your industry, in your business, you know a lot more than most. And there are young people coming up in the church, or you can take them under your wing. You can mentor. You can serve on boards of nonprofits or organizations. You can give your expertise and advice and counsel. So don't think you just have to write a check by giving back. There are all kinds of ways that you can be generous.
I think one way that I know our student graduates are giving back is by being a chapter member.
Oh, sure.
And being in the presidency of chapters.
That's a lot of work.
That's a huge way to give back, and we want to say thank you for that.
And I got a sense of that in Mexico. We met with the chapter presidents, and I recognize it's a lot of time, a lot of work, but it is absolutely necessary. You learn some great things at the academy. You were taught by the best, and you learned the best. But now, how do you remind yourself? How do you constantly relearn and reapply what you learned? And the chapters are the answer. So thank you.
Well, that's all we have today. Remember to give back. Make the commitment today to give back. Be creative with the ways that you volunteer and give back to your community and your society. And focus on your chapter members. That's a wonderful avenue to give back right now.
Absolutely.
And start small with your small income generating activity, and build it, and then move, and then keep moving and progressing, so practicing Kaizen. Is there any final remarks you want to give to our wonderful students throughout the world?
Just keep working, keep trying.
Don't
I know
give
it's
up.
hard, but you're doing it, and we believe in you.
We believe.
Absolutely.
We love you. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.